when I was on a couple months back, the WSI shoot interviews, and I
Mhm.
talked about how I don't like Punk. I used to be a huge supporter of his, and I got so much crap for it online. So much crap. And now everyone and their mom like hates him and they're like,
Right.
"Oh, blah blah blah." And it's just like mother effers. And the thing is, I do get it to an extent because the example that I used in the video that I did for WSI, I talked about how there was this whole hotel story that happened that surrounded my hotel room. And Punk did an interview where he talked about it, but he left my name out. He put everyone else's name in there, but he left my name out. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, you're being high school. Oh, this is a bad look. Who cares?" And the reason why I chose that story to share is because it was a safe story in the sense of I'm not screwing up people who have confided in me different things.
Yeah.
Um, it was safe. It was like a rated G, if you will, of rumor stories to tell. But it's still the reason why I still told it was kind of to show that, like, even something as petty as like making sure to leave my name out when it was my room, all this stuff happened in, like, I thought was pretty lame.
Right.
And I understand that people probably wouldn't look at it that way. But the reason why I didn't give the good, juicy parts of the stories of why I don't like him anymore and he disappointed me huge is because it involves other people who he screwed over, who've confided in me. And it is not my business to tell people their business, especially when it's not common knowledge. It's multiple people. And I'm not going to sit there and like not name names, but then say their story because, again, it's not a common knowledge kind of thing. M- like I don't even think people within the business know some of these stories. It's these situations that these people had with him. And when I heard these stories from the people, and some of them, it really damaged part of their career or their livelihood. So that's when I was like, oh my God, like I believed in Punk so effing much. Like I believed in him. And I've said it before and I'll keep saying it. It was such a disappointment because I saw how the powers that be effed with him when we were in OVW. They did not, it seemed like they did not want him to be successful. Like it almost seemed like they hired him just so they can control that he doesn't become successful somewhere else. That's how it seemed. And I'm not the only person who felt that way. So when he like became this huge star and then he did the whole infamous Colt Cabana promo on TV where they cut his mic off,
Mhm.
like that was huge. And I was like, hell yeah. Knowing all the stuff behind the scenes that was going on, I was like, dude, that's freaking punk rock right there. And that's the thing that kind of bothers me now with everything going on is all of these fans think they know what they're talking about, but they aren't from the business. They aren't people behind the scenes. They don't know the full story about different things. And I get it. People like the internet is for people to have their opinion, and that's cool. But it pisses me off because if I tweet something and then I get flagged because it's misinformation, it's like these fans are doing misinformation because they don't know the business. I don't care how many years you've been a fan, you're not part of the business. I don't care if you read the dirt sheets, you're not part of the business. I am somebody that was a part of the business. It's so annoying that I got so much shit for talking so badly about Punk. And now everyone is up in arms and they're like, he should be fired, blah, 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 all this. And I'm just like, mother effers. Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, you're fair weather fans. If you think he was so awesome to where you came after me online, where's your loyalty? Why can't you put yourself in his situation? Like, when he went off on Cabana, it was nothing new to me. And I used to be cool with Cabana. I used to be friends with him. I don't know the full story, but when everything went on years ago, that was around the time that my opinion of Cabana changed. And when all this stuff with him and Punk came out, it validated that I was probably right in my change of opinion on Cabana. And it broke my heart because I used to tell Cabana that I was so jealous of his and Punk's relationship because in wrestling at that time, a lot of people that I thought I was really, really tight with, like friends to the end, homies, as soon as I like started stepping away from wrestling or not being involved in it as much or whatever, they wanted nothing to do with me because they couldn't gain anything off of me. So when I would tell Cabana, like, if you and Punk ever have a falling out, I give up on wrestling friendships, like, because they were so effing tight. So when all that stuff came out years ago, I was like, oh my God, no. Like, no, these were the BFFs. Like, no. And then more stuff kept coming out and all this. And then I had my insiders telling me other stuff that wasn't out there on the internet. And I was just like, no, dude, no. Like, this is Cabana and Punk and Punk and Cabana. Like, no. So when he went off, I can understand his rawness and his emotion because it's not just, and like some people are like, oh, something that happened so long ago he's bitching about. It's like, no, dude, they were effing homies. Like, and Cabana would not be where he is today with his podcast if it wasn't for Punk. And that was another thing I was jealous of back in the day because I was podcasting before Cabana was. And so when Cabana was podcasting and he blew up with this art of wrestling, I was so jealous, not like a hater jealous, but just like, damn, I wish that somebody that I was tight with in the business would do that for me on my podcast. Like, you're so blessed to have a good friend like that, you know? So I guess maybe not jealous is a bad word. Envious. I was envious. I was like, man, like, that's so cool of Punk. Like, he really put him on the map with his podcast. And it's like Cabana, in a way, almost became more so known for his podcast than wrestling for a while there, you know? And then that just launched all these different things he was doing, like $5 wrestling and all the, like, he thrived off of his podcast, which created all this other stuff. So I could totally get why Punk was so upset. Now, as far as the Young Bucks go,
Smoke Out with Shelly and SJ, the interactive video show where you can subscribe and be a part of the show as Mark is tonight. Chill with us while we record the show. You can be on camera, you can just be on audio, you can just be in the chat room, whatever you want to do to chill with us. Less than $1 a week, as you can see scrolling along the bottom. Channelattitude.com.
This is Channel Attitude. Your voice, your right, your freedom.